watching me from a distance. So how can we get together forever in the day or between the sheets? I plotted and planned, waited, debated, know how to come. Stuck in this days in a maze that I wanna run. Eyes on the prize, fantasize that we both met. Before behind closed doors, I had you, but not yet. I won't trip, but don't skip your telephone number for real conversation when you're all alone. Man who delivers, got no quivers, I'm a sure cure. Our acquaintance is young, but I'm sprung on your heart tour. Watching you from a distance. So how can we get together forever in a day? I've been watching you.
Come to me, come with me, baby. Cause in the fact, one step led to the next.
I've been watching you.
Come to me, come with me, baby. It's infatuation and conversation.
I've been watching you.
Come to me, come with me.
Yo, Whoville Studios.
Turn it around, tongues hanging like Jordan dogs out.
Who is JasWho?
Who am I? I am music. I am the music that I create, the music that I listen to, the music that I love. I am music, and just like everyone is music.
Cool. So how'd you get involved with, how did Atiim Chenzira get involved with you? Put it that way.
How did that happen? That is a good question. Everyone is meant, everyone that links up, as I call it, when you link, you know what I mean? Like a link in the chain, everybody's meant to link up, that links up. And so, you know, our paths crossed. The funny thing is we know a lot of same people. I don't remember. You have to remind me. How did we actually link up?
Linked up with Diva Sonic, man.
Was it really through her? I thought we linked up and then that came in after.
I think it was Diva Sonic. We just lived in the same hood.
What's feeling right?
Yeah, that might be it. I mean, that would be the obvious one. I thought there was something more to the story, but yeah, Diva Sonic. I remember I did the remix for you.
Can of Worms.
Can of Worms. That was fun, man. That was dope. Dope track. From that, I guess we, you know, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? When you see somebody that's a similar mindset, similar focus, and similar just passion, you definitely want to get up with them and work with them. And so for me, that's always been the case. You know, when I link up with somebody, I definitely want to complete that circle. You know what I mean? Complete that cycle. And so that's what we're doing here right now, is trying to complete that cycle even further. I love working with other people. I tell this to everyone that I work with. When I teach a class, when I'm in the studio with somebody, I try to, more than anything else, teach and share the idea of collaboration. Collaboration is what music's all about. You know, I can sit here and make a ton of music by myself, all to myself, and show select people, but the best thing is to share it with everyone and to work with as many people as you can. You know, even sometimes the work that you do with someone that you might feel is the hardest person to work with can be the most fulfilling and rewarding music you've ever created.
So tell me something about the tracks that are going to go on this Aspectz of Me project.
Tracks we're working on this are some stuff that we worked on a while ago. I guess 3 of the tracks that are going on there are Cause and Effect, Hands Up, and Pull. All of them are very different sounding tracks. Hands Up is like an old school hip hop. I mean, it's hip hop at its finest, and an angst in there. It's got crowd response. It's got breaks, and it's got the real subby live bass, you know, dub style bass line. It's an old school hip hop tune. Really cool. You know, it's all about the lyrics for me with hip hop. Let me just tell you that. As a music making person, hip hop to me is always about the vocalist. You know, yes, you can dance to the groove, but it's all about hearing what the person is saying. And he's telling you to put your fucking hands up. Put them up.
Get your hands up off the ground and move your body round and round. Beat goes up, it's going down. Turn that girl frown right upside down.
Cause and Effect is an amazing track that we did. Me and the team did for the my record, New Drug Music. It was one of the ones that didn't make it onto that project, but hey, one thing that doesn't make it onto there makes it onto here, and that track is an amazing track. It also features vocals by Maya Songbird. Of course, it's Maya Songbird. Maya Songbird blessed us with some amazing backgrounds and chorus vocals. Really knocked it out the park. So that's a solid tune. And the last song is Pull. which is a track that I gave you guys. I think I gave you guys a group of tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was one of the instrumentals that I gave you and Diva Sonic at that time. You came back to me quick, man, like, yo, you know, this one, let's rock it. And so we recorded, you know, you got on it, put the pen to the paper, and we recorded a scratch, and then we tightened it up, and then it just sat. And we're tightening it up and polishing the edges and doing all that mixing to get a completed ill song. I'm already hearing a remix of it, but it's in my head. That's what happens to me, but that's a solid tune, man. It's a really deep tune. It's one that you really need to listen. You know, we might even have to do a version with the music down a little bit. You know what I mean? Just so you can focus on the lyrics. It's saying something, people. That's the thing that I love most about collaborating with somebody. You know, even when I'm on the music or I'm just on the boards, whether I made the music or not, is collaborating and helping someone realize an idea, you know, that's really deep and dear to them. You know what I mean? That's, you know, it's great making records that are just for the dance floor and just for, you know, happy times, but I really like to get my hands dirty with people and like really work some shit out, you know, and that's what music is. It's for everything.
Tell me one other thing. Actually, two. The first thing I want to know is, how long have you been in music?
Music and me have been together since I was a little kid, man. A lot of people don't know this, but, you know, my mother brought me to plays as a little kid, like as a very, very young kid. So I always tell people that are close to me, now I'm telling everybody, whoever watches this video, is I'm a very huge fan of musicals. I've been going to musicals on Broadway and mainly off Broadway when I was a very little kid. On the East Coast, my mom would take me from Connecticut, where I grew up, and we would go into the city, which is what we call New York City, when I was young, and go on the weekends because she had friends there, and my mom took me to see some amazing musicals, some underground stuff, some stuff that I've actually uncovered today, but then some very popular stuff. As a young teenager, probably 11, 12, I went into New York City in Broadway and saw Annie on Broadway, and changed my life, literally. You know, I went with school, you know, they took us, and changed my life to see that many talented kids on stage, in sync, just murdering it. You know what I mean? It had an effect on me, like, wow, that is amazing, which made me, in turn, usher at a theater as a young kid, became an usher, handing out programs, showing people to their seats, and watching the same plays over and over again. Musicals mainly, but plays as well. This shaped me, you know what I mean? It really shaped my mind as wanting to be a performer, wanting to learn this, you know what I mean? At that same time, at that same exact time from the 70s and the 80s, hip-hop was bubbling to the surface in the late 70s, early 80s. So put it together. At that same time, Rick James, Michael Jackson, and Prince were basically blossoming, as well as Madonna. So it was just, things were happening, you know what I mean? I had soul music that my mother showed me from when I was a little kid, obviously. Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass, I mean, the list go on and on from the 60s till that time that we're still making records, and this new music that was coming up. Hip-hop was the streets, and then you had pop music that was these, you know, pretty interesting, gritty characters making this new kind of pop music. All of that shit together, you know what I mean, formed me who I am, you know what I mean? At the same time, where I lived, I heard a lot of rock music where I grew up, so Led Zeppelin, you know, was a major influence. You know, Black Sabbath, these groups, you know, they weren't just things that I heard. Van Halen, these were things that I heard on a daily basis. You know, all of it mixed together with hip hop, which took it all, kind of put it all together. AC/DC, these were major music that was in rotation. All of them together is what I am. You know, so from a very young age, I started trying to recreate music on homemade instruments, which what we did then. You couldn't just go buy a keyboard. It might as well have cost $1 million. You couldn't go buy one, and your mother couldn't go buy you a keyboard. You know what I mean? You couldn't do that. So you get a little tiny organ, a little air organ, or something from a garage sale, tag sale. You know what I mean? So you had to really work hard. You know what I'm saying? I played recorder. You know what I mean? I started off playing recorder, played some violin. Tried to play it like a guitar, My mom got rid of the violin, got me a guitar, you know, in 1982, I think, 1982, 83. Had an air organ, convinced her to buy me one for $10 from her. I mean, this shit was like serious, man. Like, to get any kind of instrumentation was serious. My mother knew I was serious, you know, because that's all I asked for. You know, all I wanted was that.
So your mother was your first supporter.
Still is. She's my main supporter to this day, as far as she is my support system. Is the biggest fan. You know what I mean? My mom is definitely my fan since I was young, but she was definitely one that let me open my mind. My mom is definitely a scholarly person. She's a very creative person, but my mom's a little genius. You know what I mean? You know.
Apple didn't fall too far from the tree. That's for sure.
she's athletic and you know, she's the professor, man. My mom's nickname is the professor. So super smart, but she knew I had this super amazing, passionate interest in music, you know, and she's partly to blame for that. You know what I mean? She exposed me to a lot of amazing things. So, you know, that's where it comes from. I just pushed it to as far as I could with the knowledge I had. Being a person that didn't go to like music school or go learn music traditionally, you know, I had a lot of friends that were music students their whole life, you know, took lessons since they were kids and all that kind of stuff. I also had a cousin that played bass at 16, quit school, and then joined a band and toured. He was like my inspiration, you know what I mean? Like, you can do this if you put in the effort and love it as much. And put in high school that said music is the only thing that will never lie to you. It will only give back what you put into it. You know what I mean? Like, he said this to me. His name was Royal Hardigan, amazing drummer. It's when it comes to music. If you put JasWho, JasWho into Google, you're gonna see a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of stuff to sift through. But you might find something you like. You know what I mean? And hopefully you'll find this stuff that we're working on right now, and peep that. My name is JasWho, aka JasWho, aka J Keys. You need to get out and support my man Atiim's project, Aspectz of Me. Get out there and support.